What a day it is today. National Podcast Day. Hi, everybody. Tony Simeone. We're going to get to Wake Up the Echoes presented by TireRack.com in a second, but I've been thinking a lot lately. A lot of podcasts, as their followers and fanhood grow, like this podcast, they start to name their fans. They've got to find a name for the fans of Wake Up the Echoes, and I've been thinking about that a lot. I've been walking around campus during the football season, seeing a lot more of you out there saying you love the show and the guests we've had. Really appreciate that. Flag me down anytime you see me on campus. But I've really been workshopping this, thinking about what should we call the followers of this show. Very original thought here. I think we're going to go with the Patty Gang. I'll play on St. Patrick's, little group of devoted followers. I think going forward, we're going to be the Patty Gang. I won't make it official. I want to see in the comments on the YouTube video if you have an opinion for what the fans of this show should be. Why don't we try to figure out where this goes? But for now, we're going with Patty Gang because it is National Podcast Day. Also, this week, bye week for football. Great win against Louisville, but that gives us an opportunity to kind of spread our wings a little bit and look at the other parts of the athletic department, most notably volleyball. Salima Rockwell, the women's volleyball coach, is going to be in here for a great conversation along with Pete Bevacqua, athletic director. Volleyball, they're 8-3. They're playing some really good teams in the ACC and playing some really good volleyball as well. And then finally, we talked with Sheamus, WWE superstar. He was at the football game, firing up the crowd in what was just, again, an amazing atmosphere in that win against Louisville on Saturday. So happy National Podcast Day to my Patty Gang. Let's talk to Pete. All right, Pete Bevacqua, great to see you again. We gave Marcus Freeman the week off, deservedly so, after the big win against Louisville. I talked to you, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about being at the Purdue game, and you said you watch Notre Dame games the way you always have, and the emotions are always the same. I need to know then, this past week in the stadium, when the team goes down 7-0 90 seconds into the game, where does your head go?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's certainly not the start you want. And I remember thinking, I'm standing next to Ron Powless, and I said, well, we both looked at each other and said, well, the only thing we have to do now is respond. And you think about it, it was so impressive. You know, the team gets the ball after that, drives down the field, scores, and you blink, and it's 21-7. And I was like, boy, I mean, you could not have kind of responded to that mishap any better than that. It shows the resolve of the team, the resolve of the coaching staff. That was impressive.
It was an amazing drive, maybe their best drive of the year. And then, yeah, you said 21 unanswered, and I think they go, 31-7 or 31-10 run at one point after that. They really did play well after that. I just want to get your pulse because you're in your first year as the athletic director. They hit the bye week at 4-1. Just what's been your biggest takeaway from being in this role, watching this team get to 4-1 now going into the bye week?
Well, it's interesting. It's been, you think about the season. We start off at Texas A&M in that environment, one of the most difficult places to play in the country. But I would say just a great experience. I was so impressed with Texas A&M and their fan base. Just could not have been more welcoming. Even after we won, just the way we were treated was so impressive. I sent a few people on their staff a note how much we enjoyed that trip. But all the accolades that came off of that. And then, of course, we had the heartbreak the next week. And it's, that's college football.
Mm-hmm.
It's week by week. You can't look ahead. You can't take any opponent lightly. You can't assume anything. I mean, every team that faces Notre Dame, whether it's at their field or here at Notre Dame Stadium, it's the Super Bowl for these teams. They get excited to play Notre Dame, which is one of the reasons Notre Dame football is so special. But I've been so impressed with how we bounced back after that NIU setback. Obviously with the Purdue game, which was just won in such dominant fashion, a little bit of a sluggish start against Miami of Ohio. But the team and the coaching staff just saying, hey, we're going to go out and win this game in the second half. And then Louisville's a great team. I mean, so much talent. I was so impressed with their quarterback. Obviously, a great coaching staff. Just the arm angle and the throws the quarterback made. Just it's a tough team.
Yeah.
Coming in here undefeated, we knew how important that game was to us to go into this bye week at 4-1 and absolutely in control of our own destiny. In the thick of it when you think about the college football playoffs, and now a bye week at a great time. We can heal. I know Marcus, there's no rest for Marcus He was back in the office Saturday night after the game. I know he's on the road a lot this week recruiting, as is the rest of his staff. But it's coming at a perfect time. We have these 2 weeks before we welcome Stanford here. And, Stanford's another school, a wonderful institution, shares so much in common with Notre Dame. And, they're, of course, going to play us incredibly hard, as they always do.
Like you said, you can't really bank on anything in college football, but I do think when we look back, that Louisville victory might be really valuable at the end of the year because, like you said, they had so many playmakers and the throws and catches were really impressive. I want to shift a little bit and talk about rally.
Sure.
In the midst of a football season, sometimes it can be overlooked because we're just always looking at the next opponent. So the bye week, I think, is a great chance for us to kind of dial back and maybe just assess the announcement of rally to kind of help on the NIL front. Just for those that maybe didn't get a chance to totally take it in about a week or two ago, when it was announced, how is this going to position Notre Dame for success in athletics going forward?
Well, the NIL space is such a factor in college athletics right now, particularly in football and women's and men's basketball, other sports as well, but particularly those three sports. And football is, quite frankly, in a universe of its own. One of the reasons being the sheer number of student athletes on a team. Notre Dame, through a collective fund, which was really the vision of Brady Quinn, one of Notre Dame's great quarterbacks, did a wonderful job helping position us in the NIL space and did just a tremendous service to our student athletes. And this rally is really the next generation of the collective that will be there to assist Notre Dame. It's a board of people who are passionate about the Notre Dame student athlete, the Notre Dame student athlete experience, Notre Dame athletics. And Rally is set up in a way to find opportunities, commercial, corporate, and otherwise, branding opportunities for our 747 student athletes. And we have always said that in the NIL space, with the help of a collective like Rally, we have to be strategic, we have to be aggressive, we have to be progressive, but we have to do it in a Notre Dame way, and we'll continue to do it in a Notre Dame way. But it's part of the reality, NIL, name, image, and likeness, and the concept of NIL makes all the sense in the world, and whether you think it's the best thing in the world or the worst thing in the world, it's here to stay, and we're going to really make great efforts in working alongside the collective and Rally to make sure we can identify these types of really rewarding opportunities for our student athletes and also help us preserve what it means to be a student athlete at Notre Dame. Okay. Because I'm biased, right? I'm 100% biased. You know that. But I really think there's no place like Notre Dame for a student athlete who wants to come here and succeed wildly, athletically, have the best coaches in the country, the best resources, the best facilities, play some of the most competitive schedules, but also get a world-class education. If you're looking to do both, there's no place like Notre Dame. And, Rally believes in that as well.
So the follow-up I have just on Rally then, help me understand if this is the way I look at it. NIL, it's kind of, like you said, it's here, whether you like it or not, in its best or worst iteration. But the sense I've gotten from talking to players and coaches here and abroad is just, there aren't really a lot of parameters. There isn't an obvious and easy way to get the things done we need to get done. And it seems to me like Rally is going to be a great arm to kind of facilitate the steps for the student athletes to get those NIL opportunities that if we don't have Rally, it might just be hard to identify the best way to move forward in those opportunities, right?
I think it will supply order, effectiveness, efficiencies for the student athletes. A Notre Dame student athlete, it's tough to be a student at Notre Dame. It's so difficult to be a student athlete in terms of the pressures on your time and how you have to balance your priorities. And the people, the board of Rally and the people who will help support Rally, they just have so many skill sets and resources. I think about the board, if you go person by person, what they can bring to the table, their knowledge of Notre Dame, their knowledge of what it means to be a student athlete at Notre Dame, their connections to the corporate world, nationally, internationally. They're just a great resource for our student athletes. And yet Rally understands how Notre Dame operates, what works at Notre Dame, what doesn't work at Notre Dame, and what will be a wonderful, great learning opportunity with some real economic resources for the benefit of our student athletes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it kind of take effect and see the students benefit from it because it does seem like it's set up in a way to have a lot of success going forward. Let's take a quick break, and let's bring in women's volleyball coach Salima Rockwell. Okay, Coach Rockwell, welcome back to Wake Up the Echoes. So great to have you back on the couch. I want to just ask you about the start. 8-3.
Yep.
Big win the other day over Cal. Just what's been working so far for your group?
Oh, man. Well, thank you for having me back on here. It's fun to be back. Well, I think this year we finally got into a little bit of a rhythm and a groove, and with, I guess I would say, our first complete recruiting class. In our sport, you recruit a couple of years out, and when I got hired, everyone was kind of already gone, and they were already gone for the next year. So you do what you can. But this year, our freshman class, which is ranked 13th in the country, a strong, big, physical class, which has really helped us. And I think you need to be big, you need to be taller, physical at the net. And that was something we were lacking in the first couple of years. So that's helped tremendously. And you just combine that with the experience of the seniors. We really, at any given time, we're starting 3 freshmen, 3 seniors. So it's an interesting mix. But their experience and their resilience and all of that they've learned, combined with what we have with the talent of the freshmen, has really allowed us to be where we are right now.
You kind of alluded to it, but do you get the sense, and there's been always talk about football program, and year 3 is when the coaches really have a lot of success. But I feel like in any sport, year 3, do you feel like, okay, this team is now the team you've envisioned, you're getting your fingerprints on it, it feels like it's coming together, the vision you had? Yeah,
I think but it's really just the start. If you really think about it, it takes years to build a full program, a full culture of all your recruits and your system and your style and having them buy in, really, because once it's player led and once that's just kind of what we do, that's how we are, this is how we operate at Notre Dame, and it's less coach led, that's when you've got your mark, and that's when the team can really, really flourish.
Okay. I forgot to do something before we started this segment, by the way.
I'm ready. What'd you forget?
This segment is Cooler Conversations, presented by Yeti.
Clever.
They're a great partner. I kind of came up with that one. It used to be called something else. Well, I said, what was it last year? Coldest Moment, presented by Yeti, and now it's Cooler Conversations.
I like it.
Which would you like more, Cooler or Coldest Moment or Cooler Conversations?
Cooler Conversations. You're talking about a cooler, the Yeti, that whole thing. I think that's better. No, thank you.
Okay. How about a Dasani water?
No, thank you.
Okay. Pete, would you like a Dasani? They're a good partner. Yeah.
They're a good partner.
Good job. They're a good partner as well. Okay. Yeah. One more question just about the team on the floor this year.
Yep.
Fiona Schrader. 6 triple doubles?
Yeah.
Can you just explain, because we have viewers that some are probably familiar with volleyball, some maybe not. How unique is that? A triple double is not easy to come. I mean, it's tough in basketball.
Right.
I think it's tougher in volleyball because to do all 3 things, which you don't usually find in a skill set. Just how unique is it to have someone that has 6 triple doubles in 11 matches so far?
Yeah, and I believe Fiona is leading the country in triple doubles. So it's unique in the sense that her position calls for it. So generally speaking, you have a setter that runs the offense, kind of like the quarterback. They set the ball, they give it to everyone to put down. Sometimes you have 2 setters on the floor. And recently, in the most recent years, you sub that player out to put another hitter on the floor.
We're talking a 6-2?
Yes, the 6-2 rotation, which is a little complicated. But Fiona stays in. She sets out of the back row and she hits out of the front row. And this is why she's able to score points for us offensively as an attacker. So she gets the number of kills. She gets the assists because she also sets from the back row. And she's a phenomenal defensive player. So the defense is the thing that takes her over the top. She's always at multiple digs, which is hard anyway, as a setter or anyone. So really, in my mind, that's kind of her most incredible skill. So Sophie, they've been calling her the Swiss Army knife on the broadcasts, which I love because it's true. She's got it all. You just open it up and she's got every single trick in the book. She can do everything, slices and dices around the block and runs the offense like it's just phenomenal.
That's amazing. Pete, as you've kind of seen this fall take shape for them, obviously, we talked about year 3, getting your fingerprints on it, but just what's been your impression of seeing them really, I think, take what's a good first next step for this program with this great first month and a half?
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, it's been fun to watch. Salima obviously has so much energy and passion and has just been such a great influence on the ascension of this team. Salima invited me to speak to the team, and it's just great. And they're such wonderful Notre Dame representatives and student athletes. Not only are they doing so well, playing, but they were telling me they're majors, and it's just amazing. I mean, these are serious student athletes.
Can we get what are they studying just in general? What's some of the?
It's crazy. Some of them I don't even know what they're saying. I'm like, what are you saying? What were those words? So we've got civil engineer. We have computer engineer. We have aerospace with a minor in something else crazy.
Right.
We've got several pre-professional health that, people that want to be doctors. We've got a couple of psych, media, majors, and in the marketing business, we have a lot of business majors that are either in finance. So we have, I think, 8 or so STEM majors in our, and it's crazy. They're so smart and they're studying all the time. I
had one of the young women on Salima's team come in and give me a whole plan about environmental responsibility on campus at Notre Dame and what we could be doing differently, what we're doing well, what we could be doing better during Saturday home football games, and just an unbelievably well thought out memo that she sent me on what we can be doing. And then in terms of the competition, it's been wonderful to see. I was at the Indiana match a couple of weekends ago. I went to the Stanford match on Friday night, and it's a combination of how well they're doing, how they're progressing, and then quite frankly, what's also great to see, how much they enjoy the team experience. And I said to Salima, I think I said to you last year, I've never seen a team have that much fun. And to see how they're competing and how well they're doing and how much they're enjoying it is just, it's what college sports are all about.
This is for both of you. Have either of you yet gotten used to Stanford and Cal being ACC teams? Because I saw it on the schedule. I was just like, wait a second. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I can't believe it.
It's crazy. And used to it, we will for sure. I have a long history competing against Stanford, so we're used to that. One of my best friends is the head coach. So it was cool to welcome them in. But they had a tough travel. It was a 12-hour day. They ended up flying into Chicago, bussing down, and it was pretty brutal on them. But it's awesome for our conference. It's huge. We have one of the toughest conferences in the country, and any given weekend we're playing a top 5, top 10, top 20 team. So, for us, adding Cal and Stanford is going to be great for us, recruiting, and all the other things involved.
Holistically, just having them in the conference, how valuable is that? Because those are 2 great institutions.
2 great schools, and then you think about the third school, SMU, in terms of rounding out the ACC. And I would tell you, and people who are, familiar with Notre Dame as are the people watching this, Father John was so instrumental in that move and really supportive of those 3 schools coming into the ACC. I think it's wonderful for the ACC, truly makes it a national conference. And when you have schools like Stanford and Cal and SMU, just great academic schools that have a shared view of what it means to be a student athlete, I think it's a wonderful statement on the part of the ACC.
Okay, I have a volleyball question. Maybe you can help me with a little bit. Because I think I told you, I went to Pepperdine.
Okay, yeah.
So I got to call some volleyball as a student and I know a little bit about it. Yep. It's been a while too. But, okay, all that's to say, do you find certain players in certain regions? Like I think about football recruiting, there's this region has this kind of player sometimes. You might find this kind of player there. So West Coast, is there a style of volleyball you might find there as opposed to East Coast or Midwest? How would you categorize those if you're breaking it down? Because I know you have to recruit the whole country.
Yeah, that's a great question, and you're right. It's the same in volleyball. So West Coast, you're going to find really well-rounded volleyball players. They play a lot of beach growing up, so they know the game. They have all the skills. They can pass, they can set, they have shots. KG players, we talk about just really smart volleyball players with a high skill level. Now you look at the state of Texas. Texas is a hotbed. This has grown and blossomed over the years where you're finding a lot of former NFL players. There's a lot of professional athletes down there where their kids are playing sports, so very physical athletes in the state of Texas. And you're going to look at any given team, there is a high level, one of the top teams, there are going to be high level Texas players on their team, physical. Midwest, you're going to find kind of that mix of gritty grinding, just
So it's like Big Ten football.
kick butt, kick butt type players,
One in
right?
the trenches.
Yeah. So those are the kind of different pockets. I would say East Coast is still catching up on a lot of things. Maybe Florida and that region, really good volleyball, creeping into the Carolinas, but East Coast is still catching up with the rest of the country. But those are kind of the areas right now that we're really focused on.
That's fascinating. I just going to school out there, it just opened my eyes to just the sport itself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Were you familiar with volleyball much before you came here, Pete? I guess you went here and you saw volleyball in your time here, but what's your volleyball background?
Yeah, I would tell you I'm always familiar with volleyball, but my real introduction to volleyball at this level was my time at NBC with the Olympics. And, I think back to one of the great sporting events I've ever been to. Granted, it was beach volleyball, but was the gold medal match between China and USA in 2008 in Beijing in the pouring rain. It's just a great, great experience. But, it's such a wonderful sport. And when you look at sports that are absolutely just exploding in a positive way, you'd put, I think, volleyball and women's basketball right now would be the leaders in the clubhouse of sports whose trajectory is just going through the roof.
Volleyball, especially at the Olympics.
Yeah.
You see it, and it's just unbelievable. And I know you worked the Olympics this summer for NBC.
I did.
How was that experience for you?
Well, the experience was incredible. First of all, I feel so fortunate to have had that experience. And I've called a lot of international matches. Right. And this was something that, the opportunity arose. And it's crazy to even think about. Like, while you're there and when you're doing the matches, it's a grind and it's hard, but it's awesome. But, you get to the gold medal match, the men's gold medal match. I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, I'm actually calling this match, and it was phenomenal. Now, the difference was not being in Paris. That was a challenge. We were in Connecticut, and a challenge, and I say it's just a different call when you're not on site. Right? You're calling off the monitors. You're watching all the different feeds. It's a different feel, but that's the one thing COVID taught us, that you could do everything remotely.
Sure.
I called so many matches, I think 50 matches remotely during COVID.
Right.
So you kind of get used to that, but it was an incredible experience.
I know you were both there, right?
Yes.
You were down the hall from one another.
I was down the hall. We did a lot of games at the same time. I did field hockey.
Yep.
And it was neat. I don't know what your experience was with Team USA. So the women they were kind of like the last team in for field hockey. They didn't make it to the knockout round, but just every time they played, they were close. They were like a game away. There's just a different feeling when you're like calling the U.S. against anybody, Argentina, Germany, whoever it is. It's like you don't realize how much of a fan you are until you do it. And I'm sure, Pete, you've been on site watching Team USA. There's something about it you can't describe until you see it. I didn't realize how invested I was until I did it. Did you have that experience being around the Olympics as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to tell those great stories of all the athletes, but to have those wonderful moments where you have your USA athletes win a gold medal, have this once-in-a-lifetime moment, because you both know, I mean, Olympic sports, unlike volleyball or football or basketball at the collegiate level, you have a game, and then you have a game a couple days later. NFL, NBA, WNBA, same thing. With the Olympics, more often than not, there's like your one moment that you'll have your entire life to win that medal, to have that experience. It doesn't come around the next week. If you're lucky, you maybe have another bite at the apple 4 years later, but those opportunities are few and far between. So the drama is it's wonderful and obviously truly international.
I find myself, like, I was watching volleyball, and I'm looking at, we're going to a fifth set, like in an Olympic volleyball. Can you imagine the pressure? Like, what do you think that pressure is like to try to serve or return in a gold medal match or in a knockout match in 5 sets? It just seems unfathomable.
It is unfathomable. I played in a lot of those international matches where it's on. But that's the difference. Those are the players that make it to that point. That's why you do it, right? That's why you play the game. It's not to sweep somebody at a low-level tournament and feel good about yourself. You want that pressure. The elite athletes want to be in those moments. And that's where you know who you are. That's where everything shows, and I had the same experience calling these matches. I recruited most of those players or coached most of those players on the team. So I'm way invested.
Yeah.
We had a little camera in the booth, and we'd turn off our mics, and our producer would like replay us in the booth going like jumping up and down. Like, are you kidding me? being silent while we're just so fired up for what was happening for the USA side. It was incredible.
I was a wreck during the Indiana set when we won 30-28, right?
It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, so you can only imagine if it's for the gold medal.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me now think of a couple questions I got to ask you.
Okay.
So one is 30-28. What is the highest number you've been a part of as a player or coach that a set has gone to? I think I've seen 34-32, and I know you've seen much more volleyball than me.
Yeah, it probably in that range, but not much higher.
Never gotten to 4.
No, and I couldn't even tell you the record. I'm not even sure.
It's out there somewhere.
Yeah, it's out there somewhere. But I mean, 30-28 is long, and it's long, and you know it because of subs. Because all of a sudden you have to start thinking, okay, where am I at? Because you can get close at the end of a set, depending on how you run your team.
Mm-hmm.
We sub defensive players, we sub hitters in. So then you really have to manage your game. Like, are we saving a sub now? Because we're going to go around. How many revolutions do you go around the horn? So that's an interesting, thing that you have to manage at the end of sets.
Okay.
I saw Nebraska ran out of subs earlier this year. They had a back row player in, five kid out there. We ran out of subs last year somewhere. Florida State, I think, where Alyssa Meneses, who was 5'2", 1, maybe. I'm being generous.
And from Texas. Right?
And from Texas.
Yeah.
But then it's like, all right, I'm going to switch block. I'm going to think about where am I going to send her right now? Where they're going to try to find her and set over her. So we're going to hold as long as we can. Who are they likely going to set? Or wait till the last second. Switch block. We did it right, and they still scored anyway. Feet didn't block the ball on the left, but that's okay.
I need to get you back on here because I want to talk so much more volleyball with you because I need to keep getting myself educated. I hear you talk about it, and I'm flashing back to when I was in school. It's just so fun, and I'm going to be at more of the matches this year because you're just getting me excited about volleyball. I love the sport. Anybody that's listening, if they have a chance, they should absolutely go to a match, and congratulations on the great start so far.
Thank you so much. And we were breaking records in the arena. We had the single game attendance record on Friday night against Stanford. It was rocking. We got the glow sticks. We got the light thing going.
Wonderful. It's a great atmosphere. So much fun.
When you get a good volleyball match going in a home venue that's behind the team, it is about as exciting as it gets. Get a big block, a roof. It's just so fun. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and come back and play a really fun game. Okay. Salima, Pete, we're going to play a game. It's called Spinning Your Wheels, presented by TireRack.com. We always have our guest spin the wheel. Tire Rack, I mean, what a wheel. Why don't you go ahead and spin it? Let's see what game we're going to play. All right. Just give it a big spin.
Lots of interesting things on
Lots of options here.
I got it. I'm really going to spin it. I'm going to
spin
whip it.
Is that all right? You have to, yeah. Whoa, yep. That's going to be fine. You're both playing. Okay. And then we're going to kind of embrace debate. It's
got it.
Oh, boy.
Age-old game. Okay. This is this or that. The topic is travel and adventure. We'll always go with Coach first, and then I want to hear your opinion, Pete. Okay, here we go. This or that. Road trip or plane trip? We've stumped her.
Well, road trip, if it's my family, and we're going to see sights across the country. I love a good road trip with my sons and our dogs.
But if you're driving yourself, you'd rather get on a plane.
Oh, no, absolutely a plane.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Similar answer. Road trip, if we're going to Maine with the family, I'm going somewhere, hop on a plane.
Yeah, I think I'm with you guys. Depends on the kind of plane, too.
Sure. Not a problem.
Always depends.
That's not a thing.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Plane.
Picking up what you're putting down. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Or your personal jet, whichever one. Okay. Travel and adventure. Okay. Big city or small town?
Small town.
That was quick. Pete?
Small town.
I grew up in Seattle. I would have said big city probably 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've kind of moved towards small town.
I agree.
I'm getting older, I think. I think as you get older, kind of handle the pace a little better.
You want the coffee shops, just a little leisurely walk. You don't want traffic and people bothering you.
Oh, especially in the
horns.
Fall. You're speaking my language. Okay.
Horns.
All right, number 3. Okay. Adventure or relaxation?
Adventure.
Another quick one.
Relaxation.
Yeah. I'm with Pete.
Yeah.
I'm 2 feet on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. Theme park or national park?
National park. You could stop at theme park or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd rather get my wisdom teeth removed than go to a theme park. So national park.
Again, one where I'm younger, I might have thought about it. Yeah, I don't like being upside down, though. National park. I didn't really like going to the national parks on our road trips, so my parents will probably say that I wasn't grateful enough, but okay.
But you appreciate it now.
I appreciate it now, yeah.
See,
My
that's why
child will have to go, be required.
No, that's what we do.
Okay, number 5, snowboarding or surfing?
Snowboarding. I don't know how to surf, and I love snowboarding.
Okay.
100% surfing. Love the beach, love the ocean.
Okay, some good contrast here. I would do neither. This is a good one. Would you rather go on a cruise or go to an all-inclusive resort? I'm assuming the cruise is all-inclusive as well. So it's just, do you want to be on the boat, traveling around, or docked?
I would do an all-inclusive resort. I've been on a cruise, and I'm not a cruise person.
I would go back to get my wisdom teeth removed again before I went on a cruise. So all-inclusive resort.
So you don't want to go on the Jack Nolan 118-day special where he went to 91 countries.
Oh, no, please.
It's not for everybody. Okay, 7. 3 more. Okay. Camping or glamping?
Oh, glamping. Glamp.
I agree. Glamping.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a 5-star guy. Solo travel or group trip?
How many are in the group?
Now, hold on. I want to hold your feet to the fire here. You just said you do a road trip if your family was coming.
Yeah. Who are these people? Who's in my group? Is it my circle?
Okay, we're going to say this is not family. This is not family. This is, girls trip, friend trip. You're saying how many? I'm going to say group is 6 to 8.
Okay, friend group, 6 to 8. Yes, I'm in. Better than solo.
I agree.
Yeah. In my head, I think if I can do 6 to 8, I may be doing a golf trip.
Yeah.
And if I can execute, and again, we got to get on the same page, but I'm probably going group if it's executed. If it goes poorly, I'm going to regret not being by myself.
Right. I'm going to Napa or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, that does sound nice.
You should try it.
Yeah. Okay, last one. This could be contentious and could start an issue.
Oh, yes.
Europe or Asia?
Okay, I'm going to say I've been to both, but I'm going to say if I had to choose...
I want you to not pick a favorite country. You got to just commit to the continent.
Yeah. Probably Europe.
Okay. Do you want to give a reason or just...
Well, you can get so many countries and there's so much history and I love Asia. I've been to so many different places there, but I feel like if I had to choose today, I'd go to Europe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I would pick Asia because last time I was in Asia was for going back to the Olympics was for Tokyo and Beijing, but it was during COVID. And I'd like to go back to both of those places post-COVID. And, I love Tokyo and Beijing in 2008, but I'd love to go back there now that we're past COVID.
Okay. I'm going to go with Asia because I've never been.
There you go.
I've only been to Europe. I got to check it off the list.
Makes sense.
That was a really fun game.
Yeah.
Spinning Your Wheels, presented by TireRack.com. Coach, thank you again for stopping by. Thanks for playing.
Thank you.
Pete, always great to see you. Thanks for your time today. All right, we are joined now by a very special guest. WWE superstar Sheamus has been kind enough to take some time to join us on this week's edition of Wake Up the Echoes. I want to start here, Sheamus. I saw you on the field, 48 hours ago. I haven't heard that stadium get quite as loud as it did when you fired up the crowd. Just tell me what it was like to be in the stadium firing them up on Saturday and what was a huge game against Louisville.
It was incredible. Look, every time I get a chance to get to South Bend for Notre Dame, it's an unbelievable experience for me. Like when I said there's no place I would rather be, I mean there is no place I would rather be than at Notre Dame. And the atmosphere and the energy from that crowd was absolutely incredible. I just did what I was there to do. I was there to fire them up, wake everybody up, and get that stadium as loud as could possibly be. And they all responded because that's how passionate they are about their team. Call them a bunch of proper fellas, the players, which they are. And from there on in, they rolled straight on to victory. It was great. Fantastic. What a day. What a weekend I had there. It was incredible.
Very on brand. You were there to wake them up. This show is Wake Up the Echo, so I'm glad.
Oh, it is. All right.
Yeah. You fit right in.
I should have read the email.
That's okay. We just rolled the punches around here. Okay, so you talked about the crowd and how electrifying it is. You wrestle in front of huge crowds. Can you compare for me then what a Notre Dame football crowd is in a game like that one yesterday? Listen, the crowd's always good in South Bend, but it's a little bit more hyped up when it's a ranked matchup like it was on Saturday. What's that crowd like compared to what you're used to performing in WWE?
It's right there. WrestleMania-wise, it's right there. Okay. And I spoke to a few people at the college, and we talked about how incredible it would be to have a WrestleMania at South Bend as well, at Notre Dame. I think
breaking news. Are we going to announce it right now?
I don't book the shows. But if I had my way, is the closest thing to Dublin would be South Bend. So that would be where I would love to see a WrestleMania or a major PLE. SummerSlam.
Sure.
We're already up the road, actually, for SummerSlam in Indianapolis at the Colts Stadium. What's the name of that stadium again?
Lucas Oil,
yeah. So, road up the road. But yeah, to have a major PLE at Notre Dame Stadium will be incredible. But like, the fans are insane. The energy from those kids, the students, you know what I mean, that are in those sections. They never stopped. And fair play to that leprechaun as well, the Notre Dame mascot. He never stopped either.
The leprechaun here historically has the most energy of anybody in the stadium, so he can always keep up. I want to know just about your background and how you really got into Notre Dame. There's obviously the Irish connection, but for those that maybe aren't familiar with your upbringing and how you became so invested in Notre Dame football, could you just tell me and our listeners how that process took place?
Yeah, so I grew up in Dublin, born and raised Dublin, and our national sports are Gaelic football and hurling, and they're played at probably one of the most iconic stadiums in the world at Croke Park. Croke Park never really let any foreign sports be played on the sacred ground, as they call it. But in '96, like the Shamrock Series or Shamrock Classic,
yeah,
Notre Dame played Navy, and I went there in '96, and from that moment on, I was blown away by college football. I'd seen NFL. I'm a fan of NFL. I have a lot of time for it, but when I saw the college football, to me, it's a different aspect. I feel like there's a lot more passion. There's a lot more pride in the college and wearing that jersey, and especially for a college with such a tradition, a history and amazing story tradition. It's such an honor for those players to put that jersey on, and everybody who was there that day at Croke Park were just like all for the fighting Irish, and it's been synonymous with who I am. My slogan is "Fight Night." People say that's like a negative, it's like a negative stereotype, but for me, it's like no, it's not. We love to fight. Us Irish, we love fighting.
Yeah,
and it captures that team and that your school, everything captures that tradition.
So, how many times now have you been on campus for a football game? Can you count the amount of times?
I think I first went there about 8 years ago. Like Tim O'Connor, Oak, as he's known around campus, invited me up.
Yeah,
I put a story or put a tweet out, me wearing a Notre Dame jersey, and he responded, and I got an invitation. I believe I've been there maybe 4 or 5 times. I'm very hard to remember. My schedule's so crazy; it's just to add them up. But the first game I went to was Wake Forest.
Okay,
the one maybe.
Do you have them beyond the time that obviously they played in Dublin, like a Notre Dame moment or a game or a memory that flashes to mind as your favorite Notre Dame memory?
I've got a lot. I've been looking to get a lot of memories, a lot of great moments in there. Especially, I think the second time I was there, I'm trying to remember. It's been the years like just basically are very hard. They all merge together. But to get the opportunity to go around the school and just to see like the unbelievable architecture, the unbelievable history of it, to me that just shows that to me as an Irishman, that's very, very important. It's very important to know the history of something and the lineage and the legacy, because us Irish are we're very proud of our history. We wear our like hearts on our sleeve, and we relate to that very, very well. And there's no place like that. There's no place like Notre Dame that has that same tradition anywhere else in this country. I believe it's very, very got a very, very history past, and it's so such a great legacy.
You mentioned the fan base and just how passionate college football fans are. I need to know about the rest of WWE and the superstars that you brush shoulders with. Are there other big fans of other teams? Is there a rivalry going on? Who do you bump into that has some strong ties to the college football landscape?
Yeah, Dawkins is a big OU fan, Buckeyes fan. There's one of the camera guys is a big Michigan fan. Like it's college football when it's on. There's always banter going back and forth between everybody, the talents, the camera guys, and the guys who work behind the scenes that nobody sees, but like are just as important as we are in setting up the whole, the WWE set and making sure that the show runs as smoothly as it does. I haven't met any FSU fans backstage.
They're probably hiding right now.
I think they are. I think they hate me. I think people were saying I cursed them in Dublin when I picked Georgia Tech.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So apparently, I'm probably on the number one enemy list. I actually probably overtook Kirk. Actually, is it Kurt or Kirk?
Kirk. Right? Yeah.
Kirk. Captain Kirk there on game day, college game day.
Well, that's good company.
Him as number one enemy.
I heard from a source that this past weekend you had a chance to actually meet Coach Freeman and his family while you're down on the sideline. He's obviously on this show quite a bit. We get a chance to talk about football, but also about some of the stuff he does away from the field. Just what was your impression getting a chance to meet him and his family? What was that experience like for you on Saturday?
Coach Freeman's awesome. Unbelievable. The first time I met him, it was set up by Aaron, I believe, and he connected us. And he was a huge wrestling fan. His kids are huge wrestling fans, so I got to talk to him. And right away, I knew this guy's legit. This guy is salt of the earth, down to earth, and he's the genuine article. And I got to meet his kids on Saturday just before the game kicked off. Got a great photo with them and all. I still have a load of stuff I have to send them, but they've been to, I believe they've been to a couple of WWE shows and the PLE as well. So they're awesome. They're great, but I can see it. Like, I just feel like Marcus definitely has the kids believing, the players believing in themselves a lot more. I believe like there's more arm around the shoulder. And I don't know if anyone watches football or they call it soccer in America. Like for Liverpool Football Club, Liverpool had a coach of that in Jurgen Klopp, where he was very much arm around the shoulder, just pushing these players on and motivating them and just giving them the belief, not trying to tear them down or drive self-doubt into them. He's actually building up their confidence, building up their belief. And you can see that in them. And you can see that in the kids. And they're rising to the performance, they're rising to the occasion. Everyone knows that we had a bit of a slip up in the second game of the season. But either way, like to bounce back the way they have is incredible. And that game against Louisville, that's not an easy game. Right. Louisville are a tough team. And they went out there, they rolled their sleeves up, and they brought it to them just like a bunch of proper fellas would. And they drove it in, and they got the W. And it just, maybe sometimes you look back at things, you go like, oh no, that was an embarrassing loss. But sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you need a reality check that gets you back on course. Because look, we all have good days, we all have bad days, but it's how you react to those bad days. And so far, since that game, the reaction has been phenomenal. They're just driving forward. And Saturday was a huge, huge win for that team. And you can see the belief that, as I said, that Coach Freeman is putting in those kids.
To your point, I think one of our producers is a big Liverpool fan. I also know Liverpool played here, I think, in 2018 or 19 of the summer. So we saw Jurgen Klopp here. You were here. I was there as well. I can't believe I didn't see you there.
Yeah.
Where were you? Where were you at that game? On the field?
Well, they put me in the box first of all, and I was like, I don't want to be in the box. I want to be down with all the fans, which is where I like to be. So I went down, and we kind of moved behind one of the goals, me and my wife. Had a blast. It was great. It was great crack. I wanted to try and get to the Celtic game that was on there the summer too, but I couldn't make it happen with my schedule.
Okay, that's a good this or that. We play a game on this show. It's kind of like Would You Rather. You obviously have had access to the boxes up there and then to the field. I think both have unique opportunities associated with them. There's some great food and beverage in the box, but there's some great vantage points on the stadium, on the field. If you could only be in one during the game, up in the box or down on the field, this is for a football game, American college football, which are you picking?
On the field. There's nothing like it.
Okay.
Sometimes I get carried away because I feel like I'm on the field myself. I'm jumping around and I'm like, I can't stay still. That's just how I am when I'm invested in something big. On the field, 100%.
Okay.
It's great to be up in those boxes and it's a great experience. To experience that like on the field, there's nothing like it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's amazing. Yeah.
That noise, that crowd, the noise look great, just coming down, just engulfing everything.
When you look up, it kind of is overwhelming. You're just like, oh my gosh, this is something else.
I was taking loads of videos and everything. I was just filming the crowd the whole time.
It's amazing to see someone like you who's been in huge crowds to still get that feeling that people get when they get to Notre Dame Stadium. There's nothing like it. I want to ask you, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead,
it's okay.
Okay, I want to ask you about what you're saying the game on Saturday and their ability to bounce back, because you're a big fan. You're on the field or you're in the stadium. I don't know when it happened for you, but they fumble the opening kickoff. They go down 7-0. Did you ever lose the faith, or are you always believing that Notre Dame will find a way?
I always believe. You have to believe. You can't doubt yourself in any way. And if that's going to happen, if something like that is going to happen, I'd much prefer it happens at the beginning of the game than it does later on in the game, because you've so much time to regroup, reset, and they did, and they came back strong as hell, and they blew them away with a couple of touchdowns straight after that. So definitely the beginning of the game. I never doubted that they weren't going to bounce back.
Last question I have is just about kind of what you hope to see from this team. Obviously, you seem to believe that they can go all the way. So I guess I'll get you on the record. Do you think they can do it? And then if they do make it, let's say, host a playoff game, end up in a big college football playoff game, maybe at a neutral site, will we see you back for the big games if and when Notre Dame gets there?
There's not if.
Oh.
Take it out of it.
Okay.
No if is, that's a cop-out, fella. You know what I mean? That's a shortcut. It's when it happens. And when it happens, I will be there. I'll make sure. I might have to call in sick from work. But
we'll find a way. You can find a way, I'm sure.
I'll get there, you know. I'll get there. If I have to walk there, I'll walk there.
Okay.
I mean, listen, this is, I'll be honest. I've been to South Bend quite a few times. Fell in love with the team and the college in 96. Crow Park, unbelievable. Followed their story as much as I've been able to since then over the last couple of decades. And there's just something special about that school. There's something historic. There's a legacy there that I don't believe that any other college can match. And I feel like, maybe they're winning a lot of championships, and you can say Georgia, and you can say, maybe Alabama and LSU by the past, Buckeyes and everything, but like, they'll never be on the same level as worldwide, like as a worldwide known college as Notre Dame. It is just, you can't go anywhere in the world without people not knowing what Notre Dame College is or Notre Dame football is. That's how engraved it is, and that's how popular it is. So I am very, very excited about this season. I went on College Game Day and I picked Notre Dame as national champs because I believe in them. Again, and I just got this gifted Notre Dame title here, right here. Check this out, right? So this is going on the wall with all the rest of my ND stuff.
Wow.
If I have to walk there, I'll walk there for that playoff game. Okay,
not if, but when they win the national championship, I need to see that around Marcus Freeman's waist.
Did I just say if?
No, I said not if, I said when. That needs to go around Marcus Freeman's waist.
Oh, I'll put on myself, fella. Look, I'll put it on myself. I'll walk up and put it on myself. It'll be an absolute honor. Absolute honor. Because listen, every time Notre Dame, as I say in the ring, it's going to be banger after banger after banger.
I can't wait. I hope to see you later this year, Sheamus. Thank you for being such a great fan and representative of Notre Dame football. We really appreciate you joining the show as well.
It's an honor to be here. I'm still pumped from Saturday. I'll probably be pumped for Saturday until the next game next Saturday, which I'll be excited to watch as well. They're playing next Saturday, right? I haven't checked the schedule yet.
Yeah, after the bye week, they're back against Stanford. Yep.
Bye week next week.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I got 2 weeks of living on cloud nine. It's great.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, we get to soak it in for the next 2 weeks. Sheamus, thanks so much.
Cheers, fella. Go Irish!
That's going to do it for this week's edition of Wake Up the Echoes. Thanks to our guests, Pete Bevacqua, Salima Rockwell, and WWE superstar Sheamus for joining us this week. Once again, happy National Podcast Day to all of you. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Patty Gang, and thank our studio staff for not putting out the ASMR version of the intro that I recorded in honor of National Podcast Day. I think it'll never see the light of day. It'll just stay on the local servers here at Notre Dame. Remember to smash the like button, subscribe, jump in the comments, and suggest maybe a different name if you have a strong opinion on what our group of followers should be. And if you see me on campus, flag me down at the football game. Give me your input in real life. Until next week, we'll talk to you on Wake Up the Echoes, presented by TireRack.com.